Hello everybody and welcome back to Lioden. It's been a long time since my first Lioden video, and since I have two very low fertility lionesses in heat on my side account today, let's get back into playing Lioden by breeding some mutations. Before I breed my lionesses and see if I get any cubs with some mutations, I'll outline how I choose which lionesses I'd like to purposely try getting mutated cubs from and explain some of the items used for mutation breeding. There are quite a few mutation breeding items, but I'm just going to talk about the items that I'll be using today and a few other important ones if they come up. The fertility and mutation section in the Lioden wiki and Felix Volpe's mutation breeding guide in the forums do have more details and mention other items you can use for breeding mutations, such as lion scrotum and pennyroyal. I highly advise that if you have any other questions, do go check out either that forum post or the fertility and mutations section in the wiki. The Lioden wiki is full of it's a gold mine of information. If you have any question about Lioden, usually you can find an answer to your question in the Lioden wiki. So which lionesses am I going to use today? Personally, I try to only use mutation items on VLF or very low fertility lionesses. The lower the fertility, the better. Fertility is important because while mutations can occur at any fertility level, they are more likely to appear from lower fertility lionesses, and I just feel like you get the most bang for your buck using breeding items on VLF lionesses. I do pay the 30 silver beetles to reveal the actual percentage, as VLF actually consists of 1% fertility all the way up to 50%, which really 50%, 49% isn't that low to me, so I do like to reveal that fertility percentage. However, if you do have a lioness with a higher fertility that you'd like to use, maybe because of the marks that she has, you can use a hyena meat that's available from the January event storyline, which will permanently drop your lioness's fertility level to 1%. You can also buy tackweed from the snakes and quests section from Crossroads for 60 silver beetles each, and this will lower fertility by 10% until she's next successfully bred. I have heard that you can stack this item, so if her fertility is, let's say, as high as 60%, you should be able to use several tackweed to significantly lower her fertility level for that breeding. Both of the lionesses I am using today, Foldy and Fulvis, they were born with around 7% fertility, but as lionesses' fertility does decrease as they age, they're both now down to 1%. And for me, these lionesses are absolutely perfect. 1% is the most desirable fertility level when it comes to mutation breeding, and that means I don't need to use any items to decrease their fertility level. Once you finally have your very low fertility lionesses, you may want to think about how many breeding attempts it will take to get them pregnant. VLFs are great for mutation breeding, but they're also less likely to get pregnant, which can really drain your king's energy if it takes multiple attempts. So if you're like me, you really like to explore as much as you can, especially during events, you want to save as much of your king's energy as possible for exploring. You don't want to have to use all of his energy several times over in order to get your lioness pregnant. I have had a 1% lady take 100 failed breeding attempts before I finally gave up, and I just used an item to ensure that she gets pregnant in one try, because thankfully we do have items for that. My first 1% lady, Foldy, has an angelic blessing on her. This is a permanent item that is available from the October's Heaven shop. It ensures that she gets pregnant on her next breeding regardless of her fertility level. And as you can see here, she has the message that says this lioness will fall pregnant on her next breeding no matter her fertility, and that is due to the angelic blessing that she has. Unfortunately, I don't have one of these for Fulvis, so what I'm going to use for her is a black stallion, which also ensures she gets pregnant for the next breeding. However, this item is not permanent. You'll have to use this for each breeding should you want to ensure that she gets pregnant on each attempt. Luckily, the black stallion is a really easy item to get a hold of. It's permanently available for monkey teeth in the gorilla enclave, so it's down right here for just 90 monkey teeth all the time. Make sure you do your gorilla quests every day, that way you're always getting monkey teeth every day. And it's also a higher end prize in the slot machine, but for me, the gorilla is the best place to get it from, or you can even buy it in the trading center from other players. Once you've got your breeding items for your lionesses, you might want to think about how many cubs your lioness is going to have, because it would be really unfortunate to go through all the effort to try to breed some mutations and then she only ends up with a 1 cub litter. To guarantee a larger litter size, I'm going to feed buffalo scrotum, commonly known as buffy balls, to my king. You feed these to your king and the first lioness he gets pregnant will have at least 3 cubs in your litter. You could use a grain of paradise, but that only guarantees at least 2 cub. I just want the most I can get, so I'm going to use the buffy balls. Both of these items are available in the February flirt shop, which is where I got over a dozen of my buffy balls. I stocked up when I could. However, remember not to breed your king to anyone else once you feed him the buffy balls, because whichever lioness he gets pregnant first is the one who will have the 3 cub minimum litter. Keep this in mind if you're getting stud requests in when you're going about trying to breed your own lionesses to get mutations at the same time. Now let's get into the mutation items that I'm going to use. This is the really important part. The first item in the process is a cotton root bark that's available in the Oasis. It's always permanently here for 1 gold beetle each. The mutation chance from this is higher than a 1% fertility lady, but it's not the highest of what's available. If you do want to use this item, you must first breed your lioness until she's pregnant. Then feed her the cotton root bark, which will make her lose the litter. She goes into a 3-day cooldown so that you can then breed her again. I have already used a cotton root bark on both Foldy and Fulvus. That's in the message here. This lioness lost a litter due to cotton root bark. She has an increased chance of mutated cubs in her next litter. Their cooldown is over, so these are ready to go. Also, if you don't want to pay the 1 gold beetle to get this item from the Oasis, you can mass claim lionesses from Explore in the hopes of claiming a lioness that's eaten the cotton root bark. And especially if you're a dreamboat, she'll already be in heat. You don't even have to bother waiting through that 3-day cooldown. You can breed her right away, and that cotton root bark is applied to that breeding. Remember though, if you plan to use a cotton root bark, do not use your buffy balls, GMO cow, or lion meat until after you cotton root bark, lose the litter, and are ready to breed her again. Otherwise, the items you used will be lost on the litter your lioness just miscarried. You can use a black stallion on the breeding you plan to use the cotton root bark on, so you don't have to go through multiple breeding attempts, but just keep in mind you'll have to get another black stallion to use for the next time that you breed her. And the most important item I'm going to use today is the GMO cow, which you can get during the September event. I stocked up on a bunch of these during that time because prices will skyrocket throughout the year. You feed this to your lioness before you breed her, and this provides a high chance of a mutated cub. It's higher than a 1% fertility and a cotton root bark, but the exact percentage is unknown. If you can't get your hands on a GMO cow, you can use a lion meat, which is available in a couple of different events, and it's permanently available from the Gorilla Enclave for 300 monkey teeth. However, the chance is not as high as a GMO cow, and I'm just going to save this only lion meat I have and for the time when I finally run out of GMO cows. You can't use a GMO cow and lion meat for the same breeding, as they sort of take up the same slot. You can use a cotton root bark and a GMO cow together, or a cotton root bark and a lion meat together, just not a GMO cow and a lion meat. So to sum all of this up, to give yourself the best possible chance of breeding a mutation is to get yourself a very low fertility lioness, preferably one that's at 1%. You breed her. Once she's pregnant, feed her the cotton root bark, which will make her lose the litter. Once that 3-day cooldown is over and she's back in heat, then you can feed her the GMO cow, and you can feed your king the grain of paradise or the buffy balls to ensure your larger litter. Then breed your lioness to your king and just cross your fingers. A cheaper alternative, if you don't feel like dealing with all of that, is just to mass breed lionesses, specifically claiming any lioness that you come across and explore, then chase them off after they give birth in hopes of getting random mutations. Some players will do this. I just don't have the patience for it, and I also don't have the room to keep a bunch of lionesses lying around that don't have nice markings or very low fertility, so mass breeding just isn't something that I'm interested in. All right, now that we have this information, let's put it into practice and breed some mutations, hopefully. First up shall be Foldy. She's already lost the litter from the cotton root bark, and she also has the angelic blessing. So all I have to do for her is feed her the GMO cow and feed buffy balls to my king. Let's go into my horde. I'm going to feed my king the buffy balls first. Doesn't matter in which order that you do this. So your king eats the buffy balls, and let's go back into my horde to find a GMO cow, and we feed this to Foldy, have to go through, there we go, and there's Foldy. I can view her, and you'll now see the message that this lioness has a higher chance of producing a mutated cub in her next litter, and that's due to the GMO cow. Let's breed her. So I can breed her because I fed the Buffy balls to my king. Awesome. I'm going to build a nest so that she will be safe when she delivers the cubs and I don't lose that litter. Now we're on to Fulvus. I'm going to go through the same process that I did for Foldy, except I will give Fulvus the black stallion to ensure that she gets pregnant in one attempt because she doesn't have the angelic blessing. So again, I'm going to feed Buffy balls to my king. Let's do this first. We got that done. Then I'm just going to give her the black stallion now. That's fine. I don't have to do this part in any particular order. So where's my lioness? There we go. And the GMO cow, and she will be ready to go. So we feed this to Fulvus. Let's see where she is. She's right here. There we go. View my lion, and I can breed her because she now has a higher chance of producing a mutated cub in her next litter, and she will also fall pregnant on her next breeding no matter her fertility. Let's breed her and also build her a nest. That way I can let her go ahead and give birth today safely. That's the breeding process. You can either wait 3 days until the cubs are born, or if you'd rather waste your gold beetles like me, you can go to the Oasis and buy the instant cub delivery for 2 gold beetles each. This item will not affect the mutation chances, so it is perfectly safe to use them. I've used this on quite a few of my mutation breedings, and they've had mutations just fine. I'm going to use this on Foldy first because she's first in the lineup. All right, let's go see first how many cubs she had. She had 3 cubs, so thanks to the Buffy balls. Let's see what mutations we got, if any. All right, that one is an acromia. I get this one all the time, and it only had 2 markings, and it's not even a rare or special base, but hey, it's a mutation. All right, let's go check out the next one. This is a male cub as well. This one does not have any visible mutations, so that means it may not have any mutation at all, or it could be an AMP or adult mutation present. I'm going to name this one Check so that I can go look at the scrying stone, the falcon's eye, and check for any mutations. We've got one more cub in this litter here. That's my acromia. This one also does not have any visible mutations, so I'm a little bit disappointed here. I used, I gave myself the best possible chances, and I'm not really getting anything good out of this. All right, so that's one litter. I'll check for adult mutations in just a little bit. First, let's go to Fulvus and let her give birth and see what she gives me. All right, that's her. So let's see what cubs she got. I also got 3 cubs out of this litter too. Please have some good ones. No visible mutation present, but we do have an uncommon base, so I'm going to have to check this one too. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed today, but that's the way luck flows. A couple of weeks ago when I used a GMO cow, a cotton root bark on a very low fertility lioness, I didn't get any mutations. I didn't even get an AMP out of that litter, so I'm doing fairly decent today. Here's a rare base. I got a slate, but again, no visible mutation. My goal since I joined Lioden 2 years ago has been to get a Leo pawn, and I'm still chasing that goal. I wouldn't even mind a Tigan, but I really like the Leo pawn's artwork. All right, and another cub with no visible mutation. And this one is not even that pretty. If this one doesn't have any mutation whatsoever, I'm chasing it. This cub can just go be off on its own. Okay, so let's go check to the scrying stone, and we're going to see if we got any adult mutations. Usually my adult mutations that I get are very uninspiring. They're not exciting at all. So that one's healthy, so that cub's probably going to get chased unless it was the one that was like a slate or something. Got another healthy cub. Like I said, this does happen. Sometimes you'll set yourself up for the best possible chances and you will not get any mutations. Okay, so this one is an adult mutation present. I'll have to go figure out which one that is. All right, I got 2 adult mutations, and I had 2 or 3 that had no mutations whatsoever. Okay, so if you're curious about which cubs had the adult mutations and which cubs were absolute duds, Foldy had 1 acromia and 2 complete duds. Those 2 didn't even have any good bases, so I'll probably end up chasing those. Fulvus had 2 AMPs and 1 dud, which happened to be a Korat base. So the slate here had an adult mutation mutation, and once you check your cub for mutation, if it does have that adult mutation present, it says right here next to mutations, adult mutation present, and that way you know that once it grows up it will show its mutation. So I shall be holding on to these 2 cubs until they grow up and I can see what type of a mutation that they have. That's all the mutation breeding that I have for you all today. I hope you enjoyed this one. I am looking into doing some more Lioden videos. I'm just trying to find some inspiration. My king on my main account, Calamore, that I showed in my first Lioden video, is actually up for retirement in just a few weeks, and I already have the mother plan for my heir. She'll be ready to breed in just a few days, and I was kind of thinking about doing a 3-part series on how I go about planning my heir, coming up with a good design for him, and then going through the complete makeover process once that cub is born and he's ready to be kinged. If that idea sounds interesting to you guys at all, please let me know and I'll definitely look into recording that whole process. So thank you all for joining me today. Good luck on any of your Lioden mutation breedings, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!